Hey there. Isn't it funny how you can have thousands of Facebook friends and not have any real friends? Apparently that's pretty common. It's not really funny, but it happens. And Facebook, for example, I mean, there's all these platforms out there. I don't use all of them, and I don't think it's a good idea to try to cover all of them. But I use some, and Facebook is one, and it does result in some results, sales, promotion, advertising, things like that. Now, I don't recommend selling on Facebook because they're entering your financial information, to receive the payments there. Apparently is not safe. It's not very, it's easily hacked. So you don't want to lose all your, savings in your bank account. But anyway, having said that, that's what I use it for. And I'm not on there all the time. Try to keep it down to half an hour a day, which is a sort of a healthy level, so they say, but I'm sure a lot of people don't. They have it on all day long. And I basically hit the friend limit there a while ago, and nowadays when I take a look at Facebook, I'll see someone posting a picture of their face. It's like, I just spent 2 seconds looking at a picture of your face for what? So, unfriend. So basically, people that don't appear like they are useful, and I hate to make it sound that way, but then again, it's not real friends, so it's not really a big deal. If they don't seem like potential customers, or if the quality of their postings is not good, then bye-bye, unfriend. So there's a lot of trends that I will unfriend people for. One of them is getting religious, arguing about biblical stuff, Christ, Santa Claus, either pro or con, because it just doesn't lead anywhere. It really doesn't. So, but anyway, the thing about religion or spirituality is not quite the same thing, because religion is a belief system based on what someone said, and spirituality is more knowledge based on actual experience. So say, for example, you have an out-of-body experience, or you're visited by a ghost or a spirit or something like that, then you don't have to believe. You know that there's more. And that's the kind of thing that the hardcore religious people will turn up their noses at and panic. It's like, oh, anytime that you encountered something paranormal or a ghost, it's demons. It's demons. Yeah, right. Okay, well, that's definitely keeping your blinders on or keeping your head down in the sand. But anyway, I've talked before about words, labeling things, and sometimes it's useful. A lot of times it obscures things. For example, Mother Earth, it was kind of a good idea because if you have reverence for your mother, you have relied on her for your life and livelihood, then that's not a bad analogy. That's a good thing, But the thing about the religion business with the God word and the Muslim is coming. And the, everything that's applied to that, oh, this is the Father, blah, 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 and all that sort of thing. Then things can get weird rather quickly. So I don't hear people wondering whether or not the male God has genitalia, or what his sperm count's like, or anything like that, or does he have a beard, or does he look like Santa Claus, or what. So it's all kind of a childlike fable in a way. People hang on to it because, well, it's part of the whole scripture shit and everything and all that. But it is, as I said, childlike, but then with the overtones of a bully, a teenage bully. So any way you look at it, there's an immaturity to it, which is, understandable, and it's okay because that's how you grow and evolve. You may start there and then you may grow out of it, but regular churches and religions and churches, I said churches, they have basically built-in, non-escape rules where, you're not allowed to contemplate anything else, look at anything else differently. If you leave, you're damned forever or to hell, and all these kinds of things. So anyway, that model of looking at things is incredibly antiquated. I won't use the word primitive, but it's simplistic, and basically it's very, very wrong. It may not do harm, it may do harm, but in a sense it's like the little kid believing that Santa Claus brought the gifts on Christmas. Actually, the parents brought the gifts. So, okay, well, it doesn't hurt anybody necessarily, but when the kid grows into an adult and it's Christmas time and he has children and the children don't get any gifts, and dad says, well, Santa Claus didn't bring you any. Is that what's going to happen? No, you grow out of that belief. So anyway, beliefs are great to grow out of, to abandon, to get rid of, and to shit can. And I have talked about larger perspectives, enlarging your perspective, my perspective, and using different lenses to look at things. So one term that you hear sometimes is the all that is. So various channel beings, extraterrestrials, things like that, they will refer to the all that is. The all that is not just our plane of existence, but every other universe, all time, the Akashic record, multiple dimensions, expanding universe, whatever. It is all contained in the all that is. So if you look at the all that is, let's shrink it down to a balloon shape, right? A sphere. Well, the all that is the creator. It is the creation. It is consciousness. So what are we? We're these little bubbles floating around in the big bubble. So saying that, the creator is out there, and God is out there, when we're all part of it, is pretty ridiculous. So basically, we're all part of this thing, whatever word you want to put on it, right? It's all consciousness, right? Consciousness creates reality. Without the observer, there is no reality. Now, this reminds me of a time, 8-10 years ago. I was in Milwaukee. I was having some stress-related issues, and I went to a Chinese medicine doctor, a woman, who was recommended by someone else. And she said, I don't lay hands on you. There's no physical examination or anything. I ask questions of the Akash. Do you know what that is? And I was familiar with that. I knew what it was. I said, I think so. Not that I'm absolutely certain, but the Akash is basically the record of everything that's ever happened. So there is apparently a dimension or something, some kind, where all time basically is stored up. So it's like a giant cassette tape. No, I'm kidding. A DVD. But anyway, she proceeded to ask questions of the Akash. She was looking at the ceiling and then writing things down. And she got finished and she said, your consciousness is a composite of over 200 disparate entities, some of which predate the origin of the Earth. Which is pretty incredible. So, your consciousness itself, and I said, is everyone like that? And she said, no, some people are completely discrete and singular, but you're not. So, my consciousness could have come from all kinds of places. Could have come from clouds in space, bacteria, small animals, worms, other beings of all different kinds. And over time, an immense period of time before the creation of the Earth, that's quite a time span, they came together into my own little bubble, which transverses the universe. Now, I mention this because that's why it's so ridiculous to put the G word, the God word on things. Because imagining that things are separate and that you are separate is really, really completely missing the point. So anyway, that's my point about this. Further, I would add that when people get into these arguments and posturing, moral grandstanding, all the things that we know that they do when they're hardcore religious types, it's definitely something to grow out of, and it may be difficult because they're holding on to it so incredibly rigidly. So what happens when you do that? Well, you got to come back and repeat the grade, basically. Now, that's touching on reincarnation, which is something that basically, as I understand it, got edited out of the Bible sometime in the 1400s because the churches, the businesses basically, didn't want people to think that they got another chance. So you only get one chance, and if you blow it, it's eternal hell, damnation, and so on. So you have to give everything up to us and do what we say because we're the experts, right? God's word, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's the funny thing about past lives is that in a sense, they're not really past at all because time is kind of illusory. But if you don't learn the lesson, then you're going to come back and start right off where you left off. And I might have mentioned an example of this before, I can't remember, but I knew a guy who was a paranormal investigator, so he said, and he was talking about the dangers of paranormal investigation. And basically what he said was, he told a story about how he had visited a crime scene and something had piggybacked on him and he went home and beat up his whole family and his mother and didn't remember doing it. So that's very definitely a danger, so it is a danger to hang out in places, murder scenes, graveyards, things like that, because there's energy there, and depending on where they were at when they went, they can try to mess with you. And it happens. It's happened to me too, so I won't go into that right now, but at any rate, this fella, I had a tremendous, not deja vu, but basically an insight about him, because after I talked to him, I was in a hotel, 3:30 in the morning, which is kind of a key time in a way. I woke up and I literally saw it in my head that he had been a mortician in ancient Egypt. Now, where would that come from? My imagination? Well, skeptics would probably say so, but it didn't come from nowhere. And point being, even if it is a fantasy, even if it's not true, the truth is, here he is in this domain, this timeline, era, trying to profit from death. So he's a paranormal investigator, and he's trying to make a reputation and income for himself by probing into stuff, other people's lives, their stories, their deaths, their energy. There's basically none of his darn business. And it backfired on him. So why did he come here to 20th century to do this? Well, because he didn't get the message back in Egypt. So admittedly in Egypt, the whole funeral, thing, and mummification and all that, it was a huge, huge industry. So in a way it's understandable, but it depends what your motivations are, I suppose. And I've known people in the funeral industry here, and they got some stories, oh boy. And it's not something I would want to get involved in. I think that people are opting more for cremation now, which is a good thing. Of course, in India, when someone dies, they burn everything right away. indigenous people also had customs like that where they basically completely ended things, cut off the energy of the dead person as much as they could. So anyway, that's a lot of woo-woo crap for today, and I'll leave it there.